Mitt Romney caught on video praising Obamacare as recently as 2010. Here's some audio of him talking about all the great things about Obamacare and Romneycare. Of course, things which are not constitutional, and they're just terrible, terrible things for this country. Let's take a listen.
And there's some differences. I like some of the similarities. I dislike most of the differences between my plan and their plan. The similarities are that we have an incentive for people to become insured. And the incentive works. We have 98% of our citizens in Massachusetts that are insured, so that's working. Wow. Another similarity is you can't be denied coverage, insurance coverage, if you have a pre-existing condition. Oh. Or if you change jobs, you don't need to worry about losing your insurance. So our insurance is entirely portable.
Interesting.
Those are perhaps the most important or well-known similarities. We also put in place an exchange, which allows individuals to purchase insurance at very low rates because you have the entire state as a pool of citizens. Everybody's in the insurance pool, and as a result, the rates are much lower than they otherwise would be. The differences, one is our plan was a state plan. I believe in federalism. I believe the 10th Amendment gives to the states the right
Okay, so then we hear him go into those distinctions. Really loving just about everything that's in Obamacare, Lewis. It's amazing, given that he wants to repeal it.
Yeah, I listened to the whole clip, and basically he states the major and important things about Obamacare. And then when he talks about the differences, he just starts talking about numbers.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it doesn't really make sense.
Honestly, I'm getting kind of bored of even seeing him flip-flop. It's getting old.
It is.
Here's some interesting stuff about Obamacare, though. Here's a way to irritate your right-wing friends, okay? Because they will now follow this Republican meme that it is a huge tax increase, the biggest tax increase in history, Lewis. We've been hearing that, haven't we?
Right.
Let's look at the reality, okay? How many people would get tax credits versus how many people are likely to pay that fee/tax, which not even Mitt Romney agrees with himself about, which it is. 16 million people will get tax credits as a result of Obamacare, okay? 4 million people are likely to pay that tax for not having health care. So we've got net 12 million people getting a tax cut. Interesting. The average credit per person is going to be about $5,200. The average tax per person who chooses not to get health insurance if they can afford it is going to be about $600, about a $4,600 difference there, Lewis. And lastly, the total of tax credits is expected to be about $686 billion compared to about $54 billion in those tax penalties that people will receive, a $632 billion tax cut primarily to people who are middle class. Interesting.
Yeah.
Facts. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about facts as opposed to hyperbole. Now, here's something really interesting, Lewis. There is actually a real tax increase in Obamacare, but nobody's talking about it. The right's not talking about it. Why aren't they talking about it? As it happens, Obamacare does include a fairly significant new tax on incomes, one that conservatives should be screaming about instead of pointing to this stupid $600 penalty, which is actually still going to be part of a net tax decrease. There is really a tax increase in Obamacare, okay? The payroll tax. The payroll tax has two components. The OASDI, which is the Social Security tax, and HI, which is hospital insurance, which goes towards Medicare. Now, the Medicare part is about 2.9% on all incomes. The absence of a ceiling on that as compared to the Social Security tax makes it less regressive than the Social Security tax. The Obamacare tax increase makes it less regressive by adding 0.9% on incomes over $250,000 if you're married and filing jointly, or $200,000 if you're single. It also does something else. It requires people in that income category above $200,000 per year to pay a new 3.8% tax on investment income. This is capital gains, dividends, etc. This is new, Lewis. No one has ever had to pay a payroll tax on anything except for wages before. I think this is good. I happen to think this is a legitimate tax. Where are Republicans on this? They're obsessed because they've been wrapped in with this individual mandate on talking about the $600 penalty. They're not talking about the real Obamacare tax increase. That's fine with me. I don't think they should be talking about it. It's a perfectly legitimate tax in my opinion. But why aren't they? I think it's because in the past, they've already failed when fighting payroll tax increases. So again, picking and choosing something they think they can get some momentum with, ignoring the actual tax increase in Obamacare, that's fine. You know, good for you. Ignore it.
And it is a little more complicated to explain and to get into, and people just don't want to hear it. They've done an incredibly good job at at mischaracterizing Obamacare and the mandate.
As we know, nuance is bad on the Republican side.
Right.
All right, let's take a break. Facebook.com/David Pakman Show. Get a David Pakman Show t-shirt like the one Lewis is wearing, made from recycled materials at our website, davidpakman.com. Stay tuned. We'll be back. Can you get fired for what you say on Facebook? Stay tuned.
The David Pakman Show at davidpakman.com.